In the heart of Spain's capital, where ancient cobblestone streets meet modern boulevards, there exists a football club whose story began in the most humble of ways. This is the tale of Real Madrid, a journey that started not with kings or crowns, but with a group of young dreamers gathering in the fading light of the 19th century. Picture Madrid in the year 1902. The city was transforming, awakening to a new century filled with possibility. On the 6th of March that year, a small group of football enthusiasts gathered together and made a decision that would echo through the decades. They founded a club, and they called it Madrid Football Club. No real, yet no royal designation, just Madrid Football Club, a simple name for what they hoped would become something special. These founding members were students and young professionals who had fallen in love with this relatively new sport that was sweeping across Europe. They met in informal settings, discussing tactics and dreams with equal passion, united by their love for the beautiful game. Their first president was Juan Podros, a man whose vision would help guide the club through its earliest, most uncertain days. In those first years, the club wore simple white shirts. The choice of white was practical at first, but it would become iconic, transforming into a symbol recognized across every continent. Those clean, pure white shirts would one day be worn by legends, but in 1902, they were simply the uniform of hopeful young men chasing a leather ball across dusty fields. The club needed a home, a place to call their own. Their first football ground was a modest patch of land at O'Donnell Street. It was nothing grand, no towering stands or pristine grass, but it was theirs. Here, in this humble beginning, Real Madrid played their earliest matches, building the foundation of what would become one of football's greatest dynasties. As the years passed, something remarkable happened. In 1920, the club caught the attention of King Alfonso XIII, who was enchanted by football and impressed by Madrid Football Club's growing reputation. The king granted the club his royal patronage, and with it came a new name, Real Madrid Club de Football. The word real means royal in Spanish, and from that moment forward, the club carried this distinguished title, along with a golden crown that was added to their crest. This royal blessing elevated the club's status considerably. Real Madrid was no longer just another football team in the capital, it had become an institution with royal recognition. The crown on their badge gleamed as a constant reminder of this honor, a symbol that connected the club to Spain's monarchy and its traditions. But titles and crowns mean little without success on the pitch, and Real Madrid understood this deeply. Throughout the 1920s and 1930s, the club continued to develop, nurturing talent and building their reputation match by match, season by season. They won their first Copa del Rey in 1905, long before their royal designation, proving that their quality had always been present, waiting to be fully realized. As you drift deeper into relaxation, imagine those early players, running across fields in their white shirts, playing for love of the game rather than fame or fortune. Their passion planted seeds that would grow into a legacy beyond anything they could have imagined, a legacy that would one day span continents and inspire millions. But in those quiet early days, in the gentle sunshine of Madrid, it was simply about football, pure, simple, beautiful football. The decades rolled by like gentle waves, and Real Madrid grew stronger with each passing season. As the club matured, it needed a proper home, a stadium worthy of its ambitions. In 1923, the club moved to a new ground, the Campo de O'Donnell, a slightly larger venue that could hold more of their growing number of supporters. But even this would prove to be just a stepping stone. The true transformation came in 1947, when Real Madrid opened the doors to their new cathedral of football, the Estadio Chamartín, which would later be renamed. This stadium could hold 75,000 spectators, an enormous capacity for its time. Imagine the excitement, the anticipation, as tens of thousands gathered under the Madrid sky to watch their beloved team. The stadium represented ambition made concrete, a declaration that this club was ready for greatness. But a stadium alone does not create legends. Real Madrid needed a visionary, someone who could see not just what the club was, but what it could become. That person arrived in the form of Santiago Bernabéu, first as a player in the 1910s, and later as the club's president from 1943 to 1978. His name would become synonymous with Real Madrid itself. Bernabéu was more than a president, he was a dreamer with the practical mind to make dreams reality. He understood that to compete with the greatest clubs in Europe, Real Madrid needed to think bigger, bolder. Under his guidance, the club's stadium was expanded and modernized repeatedly. In 1955, the stadium was renamed Estadio Santiago Bernabéu in his honor, while he was still serving as president, a rare tribute that spoke to his transformative impact. The stadium's capacity would eventually grow to over 120,000 at its peak in the 1950s, making it one of the largest football venues in the world. Picture those terraces filled to capacity, a sea of white, voices unified in support, creating an atmosphere that visiting teams found intimidating and inspiring in equal measure. During this golden era of the 1950s, Bernabéu made a decision that would change football history. He began assembling a team of extraordinary talent, bringing together players from different nations who would form one of the greatest club sides ever seen. This was revolutionary thinking, building a team that transcended borders and nationalities, united only by skill and the white shirt of Real Madrid. The jewel in this crown was Alfredo Di Stéfano, an Argentine-born forward who joined Real Madrid in 1953. Di Stéfano was not just a goal-scorer, he was complete, capable of playing across the entire pitch, defending one moment and attacking the next. He wore the number 9 shirt and scored an astonishing 308 goals in 396 appearances for the club. His presence elevated everyone around him. Alongside Di Stéfano came other masters of the game. Ferenc Puskás, the Hungarian maestro with a left foot that seemed to bend reality itself, joined in 1958. Together, Di Stéfano and Puskás formed a partnership that opposition defenders could only dream of stopping. Puskás would go on to score 242 goals in just 262 matches for Real Madrid, numbers that seem almost impossible. These weren't just players, they were artists, and the pitch was their canvas. Under the lights of the Bernabéu, with the Madrid crowd roaring its approval, they created moments of beauty that transcended sport. And their greatest achievements were yet to come, waiting in the wings of history like the next chapter of a beloved story. But for now, let yourself relax into the rhythm of those times, when football was becoming something magnificent, and Real Madrid was leading the way into a glorious new era. In 1955, a new competition was born, one that would define club football for generations to come. The European Cup, the predecessor to today's Champions League, brought together the champion clubs from across the continent to determine who truly deserved to be called the best. It was an experiment, an ambitious dream that many weren't sure would succeed. Real Madrid, under Santiago Bernabéu's guidance, embraced this vision wholeheartedly. The inaugural European Cup final took place in Paris on June 13, 1956. Real Madrid faced Stade de Reims of France in a match that would be remembered as one of football's defining moments. The game flowed back and forth like a gentle tide, each team trading goals in an enthralling spectacle. When the final whistle blew, Real Madrid had won 4-3, with Di Stéfano scoring one of the goals. They were the first ever European Cup winners, a title that carries special historical weight. But this was just the beginning of something extraordinary. The following year, 1957, Real Madrid returned to the final, this time facing Fiorentina of Italy. They won again, 2-0, with Di Stéfano once more finding the net. The white shirts were becoming synonymous with European glory. In 1958, they completed a hat-trick of titles, defeating AC Milan 3-2 in extra time in Brussels. The pattern was forming, becoming almost rhythmic in its consistency. Real Madrid wasn't just winning, they were dominating, making the impossible seem routine. The fourth consecutive European Cup came in 1959, with a 2-0 victory over Reims, the same team they had beaten in that first final 3 years earlier. 4 European Cups in 4 years, a feat that seemed almost mythical, the kind of achievement that would be told as legend to future generations. And then came 1960, and what many consider the greatest European Cup final ever played. Real Madrid faced Eintracht Frankfurt at Hampden Park in Glasgow before a crowd of over 127,000 spectators. What unfolded that evening in Scotland was less a football match and more a masterclass in the art of attacking football. Real Madrid won 7-3, and the game was so spectacular, so filled with moments of brilliance, that it became the standard by which all other finals would be measured. Stéfano scored 3 goals that night, a hat-trick on football's grandest stage. Puskás went even further, scoring 4 times, his left foot weaving magic that the Frankfurt defenders could not contain. With that victory, Real Madrid had won 5 consecutive European Cups, from 1956 to 1960. 5 straight titles in a competition featuring the best clubs from across Europe. It was, and remains, an achievement unmatched in football history. No other club has ever won the first 5 editions of a major European competition. No other team has dominated so completely, so elegantly. This stretch of excellence established Real Madrid not just as a great club, but as the template for greatness itself. They showed what was possible when talent, vision, and ambition aligned perfectly. The white shirt became more than a uniform, it became a symbol of excellence, a standard that others could aspire to but struggled to reach. As you settle deeper into comfort, let your mind wander through those European nights, the floodlights bright against the dark sky, the roar of crowds echoing across borders and languages, all united in witnessing something truly special. 5 European Cups in 5 years, a golden era that shimmers still in the memory of football, perfect and complete, like a dream from which you never quite want to wake. After the euphoria of 5 consecutive European Cups, Real Madrid entered a period of transition. The great stars of the 1950s were aging, and new heroes would need to emerge. Stéfano continued playing until 1964, his final years with the club a gentle sunset after such a brilliant career. The challenge now was to build something new while honoring what had come before. The 1960s brought a fresh generation to the Bernabeu, and with them came a nickname that captured the spirit of the times. They were called the Yee Team, a name borrowed from the popular music movement of the era, reflecting the youth, energy, and style of this new squad. It was a time of cultural change across Europe, and Real Madrid's team embodied that sense of renewal. In 1966, Real Madrid returned to the pinnacle of European football. They won their 6th European Cup, defeating Partizan Belgrade 2-1 in Brussels. It had been 6 years since their last European triumph, a long wait by their extraordinary standards, but this victory proved that the club's excellence was not confined to a single generation. New players wearing the white shirt could achieve what the legends had achieved. Among these new stars was Francisco Gento, who bridged both eras magnificently. Gento, a lightning-fast winger, held a record that speaks to his longevity and success. He won 6 European Cups with Real Madrid. The only player ever to achieve this feat. He played in the 5 consecutive victories and then added the 6th in 1966, a living link between the club's past glories and its continued excellence. Another pillar of this era was José Martínez Sánchez, known simply as Piri. He spent his entire career at Real Madrid, from 1964 to 1980, embodying loyalty and consistency. Piri was the heart of the midfield, a player who could defend, create, and score, a complete footballer who wore the white shirt with pride for 16 years. The domestic competitions remained important too. Real Madrid dominated La Liga throughout the 1960s, winning the Spanish championship 5 consecutive times from 1961 to 1965. This domestic dominance provided a foundation, a rhythm of winning that kept the club's standards high even as they rebuilt for European glory. By 1960, Real Madrid had already accumulated 10 La Liga titles in their history. The league championships came with satisfying regularity, each one adding to the club's growing trophy cabinet. These weren't just victories, they were confirmations of excellence, proof that Real Madrid could maintain their standard season after season, year after year. The Bernabéu itself continued to evolve during this decade. In 1966, the same year as their 6th European Cup, the stadium underwent renovations to improve facilities and comfort for the growing number of supporters who made the pilgrimage to watch their team. The stadium was becoming not just a venue but a shrine, a place where history accumulated with each passing match. As the 1960s drew to a close, Real Madrid had firmly established themselves as one of football's immortal institutions. They had shown that they could reinvent themselves, that the club was greater than any individual player or era. The white shirt carried a weight of expectation now, a legacy that each new player inherited and had to uphold. Let yourself drift now, carried along by the gentle rhythm of those years, where young players became legends in their own right, where the Bernabéu echoed with new chants and new dreams, where the story of Real Madrid continued to unfold like chapters in an endless book, each one leading naturally to the next, inviting you deeper into the comfort of this beautiful history. After the triumph of 1966, something unexpected happened. For the first time in their European history, Real Madrid entered a period of waiting. The European Cup, which had seemed almost like their personal property, became elusive. Years passed, 10, then 15, then 20, and while the club remained strong domestically, that most prestigious of trophies stayed just beyond their reach. The 1970s and early 1980s were years of transition, of searching for the right combination of players, tactics, and fortune that would bring European glory back to Madrid. During this time, the club continued to add La Liga titles to their collection with reassuring consistency. They won the league in 1972, 1975, 1976, 1978, and 1979, proving that even in their European drought, they remained Spain's dominant force. But the faithful supporters who filled the Bernabéu craved that special European magic once more. They remembered the glory nights of Stéfano and Puskás, and they wondered when such nights would return. The wait, though frustrating, only made the longing stronger, like the pause between chapters in a beloved story. In 1978, Santiago Bernabéu, the visionary president who had transformed the club from a national team into a global institution, passed away. He had served as president for 35 years, an era that saw the club win 6 European Cups and 16 La Liga titles. His death marked the end of an epoch, but his legacy was embedded in every stone of the stadium that bore his name. The 1980s brought new hope in the form of talented players who would become legends in their own right. In 1985, a young Mexican forward named Hugo Sanchez joined Real Madrid from Atletico Madrid. Sanchez was spectacular, acrobatic, capable of scoring goals that seemed to defy physics itself. His signature celebration, a somersault after each goal, became iconic, a moment of pure joy that lifted the Bernabéu crowd. Hugo Sanchez would go on to score 208 goals for Real Madrid in just 283 appearances, winning 5 consecutive La Liga titles from 1986 to 1990. His presence helped restore a winning mentality to the club, reminding everyone what Real Madrid was truly capable of achieving. Those 5 straight league titles matched the feat from the 1960s, creating a beautiful symmetry in the club's history. Alongside Sanchez came other talents who defined this era. Emilio Butragueño, known as the Vulture for his predatory instincts in the penalty area, was a product of Real Madrid's youth academy. He made his debut in 1984 and would become the face of the team throughout the late 1980s, elegant and deadly in equal measure. The domestic success of the late 1980s was intoxicating, but still, the European Cup remained distant. Real Madrid reached the final of the UEFA Cup in 1985, only to lose to Videoton. They were close, so close, to European glory, but it remained tantalizingly out of reach. The wait continued, building anticipation like the slow crescendo of a symphony approaching its climax. Then, in 1998, 32 years after their last European triumph, everything changed. Real Madrid won the Champions League, as the competition was now called, defeating Juventus 1-0 in Amsterdam. The goal was scored by Predrag Mijatovic, a Serbian striker, and when the ball crossed the line, decades of waiting evaporated in an instant. The white shirt was back at the summit of European football. Rest now in the knowledge that patience is sometimes rewarded beyond measure. The long wait made the victory sweeter, more meaningful. Like the gentle relief that comes when sleep finally arrives after a restless night, Real Madrid's return to European glory felt like coming home, like the natural order being restored after too long an absence. The victory in 1998 was just the beginning of something extraordinary. Real Madrid had tasted European success again, and the appetite for more was insatiable. In July 2000, a businessman named Florentino Perez was elected president of Real Madrid, and he arrived with a vision that would transform not just the club, but football itself. Perez had a philosophy he called the Galacticos policy, the idea of signing the very best players in the world, the brightest stars from across the football galaxy, and bringing them together in the white shirt of Real Madrid. It was ambitious, audacious, and perfectly in keeping with the club's history of dreaming bigger than others dared. The first Galactico arrived in the summer of 2000, even before Perez officially took office. Luis Figo, the Portuguese winger who had been Barcelona's star player, crossed the Great Divide and joined Real Madrid for a world record fee of approximately €60 million. The transfer shocked football. Figo's arrival was controversial, thrilling, and symbolic, a statement that Real Madrid intended to have the very best, regardless of where they currently played. Just 1 year later, in 2001, another superstar made the journey to Madrid. Zinedine Zidane, the French maestro who had led his country to World Cup glory in 1998, joined from Juventus for a then world record fee of €77.5 million. Zidane was more than just a great player, he was an artist, capable of controlling a football with a grace that seemed almost supernatural. His arrival elevated Real Madrid to new heights of glamour and expectation. With these stars assembled, Real Madrid delivered. In 2000, they won the Champions League for the 8th time, defeating Valencia 3-0 in the final. It was a Spanish affair, and Real Madrid's superiority was clear. 2 years later, in 2002, they won again, their 9th European Cup, defeating Bayer Leverkusen 2-1 at Hampden Park in Glasgow, the same stadium where they had put on that legendary display in 1960. The 2002 final will be forever remembered for one moment of absolute perfection. In the 45th minute, a cross came into the penalty area, and Zinedine Zidane, with his back to goal, struck a left-footed volley that arced beautifully into the top corner. It was a goal of such technical brilliance that it instantly became one of the most iconic moments in Champions League history. That single strike captured everything the Galacticos represented: beauty, skill, and the extraordinary made to look effortless. But Perez wasn't finished building. In 2002, Real Madrid signed Ronaldo, the Brazilian striker known simply as El Fenomeno, the phenomenon. Ronaldo had won the World Cup that summer with Brazil, and despite injury troubles earlier in his career, he remained one of the most feared strikers in the world. His pace, power, and finishing ability were legendary. The following year, 2003, brought another superstar to the Bernabeu. David Beckham, England's most famous footballer and a global icon, arrived from Manchester United. Beckham brought not only his exceptional ability to deliver pinpoint crosses and free kicks but also a level of global fame that transcended sport. His shirt sales alone reportedly covered a significant portion of his transfer fee. The Galacticos era was about more than just football. It was about spectacle, about creating a team of superstars that captured the world's imagination. Walking through the tunnel at the Bernabeu during those years, you might pass Zidane, Ronaldo, Beckham, and Figo, all in the same dressing room, all wearing the same white shirt, all united in pursuit of glory. Let your mind settle into this era of glamour and stardust, where the world's greatest players gathered under the Madrid sun, where every match felt like an event, where football became something magical and larger than life. Close your eyes and imagine the Bernabeu filled with expectation, the white shirts gleaming under the lights, ready to create more memories that would echo through time. The Galacticos brought excitement and trophies, but football has its own rhythms, its own cycles of success and rebuilding. After the 2002 Champions League triumph, Real Madrid found themselves once again searching for European glory. They continued to compete, to challenge, but that particular trophy remained just out of reach year after year. During this time, the domestic league provided comfort and confirmation of quality. Real Madrid won La Liga in 2003, then again in 2007 and 2008, with the latter two titles coming in consecutive seasons. These championships were important, keeping the winning culture alive even as the Champions League proved elusive. In 2009, Florentino Perez returned as president after a brief absence, and with him came a new wave of Galacticos. That summer, Real Madrid broke the world transfer record not once, but twice. First came Kaká, the Brazilian playmaker from AC Milan, for €65 million. Then, just weeks later, came a signing that would change everything. Cristiano Ronaldo arrived from Manchester United for a staggering €94 million, a world record fee that reflected his status as one of the two best players on the planet. Ronaldo was 24 years old, already a Ballon d'Or winner, and hungry to prove himself at the highest level. His arrival marked the beginning of one of the most remarkable individual performances in football history. Ronaldo's impact was immediate and overwhelming. In his first season, he scored 33 goals across all competitions. But that was just the warm-up. Over the next 9 years, Ronaldo would score an almost incomprehensible 450 goals in 438 appearances for Real Madrid. He became the club's all-time leading scorer, surpassing legends like Di Stéfano, Santillana, and Raul. Speaking of Raul, he deserves a moment of reflection. Raul González Blanco, known simply as Raul, spent 16 years in Real Madrid's first team, from 1994 to 2010. He was the captain, the local hero, a product of the youth academy who scored 323 goals for the club. His loyalty and consistency made him beloved, a symbol of what it meant to wear the white shirt with honor and dedication. When he departed in 2010, an era truly ended. But even with Ronaldo's brilliance, the Champions League remained frustratingly distant. Real Madrid came close, semi-final after semi-final, but couldn't quite reach the final. The wait stretched on, 2003, 2004, 2005. Years passing like pages turning in a book, each one ending with hope deferred to the next season. In 2013, a legend returned, this time as a manager. Carlo Ancelotti, the Italian who had won the Champions League as a player with AC Milan, took charge of Real Madrid. Ancelotti brought calm authority and tactical wisdom, and under his guidance, something special began to take shape. The 2013-14 season would become historic. Real Madrid reached the Champions League final, facing city rivals Atletico Madrid in Lisbon. The match was tense, dramatic, and seemed destined to end in heartbreak when Atletico led 1-0 deep into stoppage time. But then, in the 93rd minute, Sergio Ramos, the passionate defender who had joined the club in 2005, rose to meet a corner and headed the ball into the net. The game went to extra time, and Real Madrid scored 3 more goals to win 4-1. This was La Décima, the 10th European Cup. Real Madrid had been chasing this milestone for 12 years, and when it finally arrived, the emotion was overwhelming. 10 European Cups, a number that seemed almost mythical, finally achieved. Cristiano Ronaldo scored in the final, bringing his Champions League goal tally to 17 for the season, a record that spoke to his extraordinary ability to perform when it mattered most. Breathe deeply and let the tension of that long wait dissolve into the satisfaction of achievement. La Décima had arrived, and with it came the understanding that Real Madrid's destiny was always to be special, always to achieve what others thought impossible, always to add another chapter to their endless story of glory. After La Décima, something shifted in Real Madrid's relationship with the Champions League. The trophy that had seemed so elusive for 12 years suddenly felt like it belonged to them again. The confidence that comes from conquering a mountain makes the next climb feel less daunting, and Real Madrid was ready to climb again. In 2016, Zinedine Zidane, the man who had graced the pitch with such elegance as a player, returned to the club as manager. He had been coaching Real Madrid's reserve team, learning his craft, and when he took charge of the first team in January 2016, he brought with him an understanding of what it meant to wear the white shirt at the highest level. Under Zidane's guidance, Real Madrid won the Champions League in 2016, defeating Atletico Madrid again, this time on penalties in Milan. It was their 11th European Cup, achieved just 2 years after La Décima. Cristiano Ronaldo scored the winning penalty, a fitting moment for a player who had made the Champions League his personal stage. But this was just the beginning of something unprecedented. In 2017, Real Madrid won the Champions League again, defeating Juventus 4-1 in Cardiff. Ronaldo scored twice in the final, bringing his total goals in that season's competition to an extraordinary 12. 2 consecutive Champions League titles, a feat that seemed almost impossible in the modern era with its increased competition. And then, incredibly, they did it again. In 2018, Real Madrid defeated Liverpool 3-1 in the final in Kiev, winning their 3rd consecutive Champions League title. No team had ever won 3 European Cups in a row in the modern Champions League era. It was a three-peat, a triple crown, a hat-trick of European dominance that echoed the 5 consecutive titles from the 1950s. With that 2018 victory, Real Madrid reached 13 European Cups, more than double the total of any other club. 13 times they had stood at the summit of European football, 13 times they had proven themselves the best. The number felt almost mystical, a baker's dozen of glory stretching across 6 decades. Cristiano Ronaldo's contribution to this success cannot be overstated. In the Champions League alone, he scored 105 goals for Real Madrid, more than any other player has scored for any single club in the competition's history. He won 4 Ballon d'Or awards while at Real Madrid, bringing his career total to 5 by the time he left the club in 2018. When Ronaldo departed for Juventus that summer, it marked the end of an era. 9 years, 450 goals, 4 Champions League titles, 2 La Liga championships, and countless memories. His partnership with the club had been one of the most successful in football history, a marriage of ambition and achievement that lifted both player and club to unprecedented heights. But Real Madrid, as always, continued. In 2018, a young midfielder who had joined the club in 2014 was beginning to emerge as a leader. Luka Modrić, the Croatian maestro, won the Ballon d'Or that year, a rare achievement for a midfielder and a testament to his elegance, vision, and control. Modrić had been instrumental in all 3 consecutive Champions League victories, orchestrating play from the center of the pitch with a grace that belied his tireless work rate. As the 2010s came to a close, Real Madrid stood as the undisputed kings of European football. They had won the Champions League 4 times in 5 years, a period of dominance that future generations would study and marvel at. The white shirt had once again proven itself to be football's most successful garment, worn by legends and coveted by dreamers across the world. Rest now in the comfort of this success, this beautiful run of victories that seemed to defy logic and probability. Let the rhythm of those European nights wash over you, the anthems, the goals, the celebrations, each one a lullaby from football's most storied club, inviting you deeper into peaceful dreams. After the departure of Cristiano Ronaldo in 2018, many wondered how Real Madrid would fill such an enormous void. The answer, as it turned out, was not to replace him with a single star, but to allow a new generation to step forward and write their own chapter in the club's endless story. Karim Benzema, who had arrived at Real Madrid in 2009 alongside Ronaldo, now became the focal point of the attack. 4 years, Benzema had been the perfect supporting actor, selflessly creating space and opportunities for others. Now, in his 30s, he blossomed into a complete forward, scoring goals with elegance and consistency. His loyalty to the club, spanning over a decade, would be rewarded with recognition as one of the game's true greats. In the summer of 2019, a young Belgian winger named Eden Hazard arrived from Chelsea for a fee that could reach €150 million with add-ons. Hazard was supposed to be the heir to Ronaldo, the next Galactico. Though injuries would limit his impact, his signing showed that Real Madrid's ambition remained as high as ever, their determination to sign the world's best players undiminished. But perhaps the most significant arrival came earlier, in 2018, when a teenage Brazilian named Vinicius Jr. joined from Flamengo. Vinicius was raw, explosive, and fearless. He struggled at first, as young players often do, but gradually his talent began to shine through. His pace was breathtaking, his dribbling mesmerizing, and his courage in taking on defenders reminded fans of classic Brazilian wingers from generations past. The 2019-20 season brought La Liga title number 34 to Real Madrid, won during the unusual circumstances of the COVID-19 pandemic. The season had been suspended, then resumed in empty stadiums, but Real Madrid's quality shone through. They won the title with consistency and determination, showing that even in the strangest of times, excellence could prevail. After the heights of the three-peat, Real Madrid experienced a few seasons without Champions League glory. It wasn't a crisis, they remained competitive, reaching semifinals, but for a club of their standards, anything less than winning felt like an absence. The wait, though shorter than previous droughts, still felt significant to those who had become accustomed to regular European success. In 2021, Carlo Ancelotti returned to Real Madrid as manager for a second spell. It was a homecoming that felt right. Ancelotti understood the club, loved it, and knew how to navigate its unique pressures and expectations. His calm demeanor and tactical intelligence would prove crucial in what was to come. The 2021-22 Champions League campaign became the stuff of legend, a journey so dramatic it felt scripted by a romantic novelist. Real Madrid faced elimination multiple times but kept coming back. Against Paris Saint-Germain in the round of 16, they were losing 2-0 on aggregate with 30 minutes remaining, but Karim Benzema scored a 17-minute hat-trick to turn the tie around completely. In the quarter-finals against Chelsea, Real Madrid needed extra time and another Benzema goal to progress. In the semi-finals against Manchester City, they were losing 5-3 on aggregate in the 90th minute of the second leg, seemingly finished. But Rodrigo, a young Brazilian forward, scored twice in injury time, 2 goals in less than 2 minutes, to force extra time. Then Benzema scored a penalty, and impossibly, Real Madrid were through to the final. The final itself, in Paris against Liverpool, was more straightforward but no less meaningful. Real Madrid won 1-0, with Vinicius Jr. scoring the crucial goal. It was their 14th European Cup, La Décima, a number so large it almost defied comprehension. Karim Benzema's performances throughout the tournament earned him the Ballon d'Or later that year, recognition at last for years of excellence and dedication. Let yourself sink into the wonder of that campaign, the comebacks that seemed impossible, the belief that never wavered even when logic said all was lost. Real Madrid had shown once again that some clubs simply refuse to accept defeat, that wearing the white shirt carries with it a magic that makes improbable things possible. Close your eyes and feel the peace of knowing that some stories are so beautiful, they continue to unfold forever. After the triumph of La Decimocuarta, Real Madrid once again showed their ability to evolve while staying true to their identity. The summer of 2023 brought a departure that echoed through the Bernabeu. Karim Benzema, after 14 glorious years and 354 goals, left the club to continue his career in Saudi Arabia. The man who had been so patient, so loyal, departed as a Ballon d'Or winner and a legend, his place in Real Madrid's history forever secure. But even as one era ended, another was beginning. In the summer of 2024, Real Madrid made two signings that sent shockwaves through the football world. First came Kylian Mbappé, the French superstar who had long dreamed of wearing the white shirt. After years of pursuit, negotiations, and anticipation, Mbappé finally joined Real Madrid on a free transfer from Paris Saint-Germain. His arrival fulfilled a destiny that had seemed inevitable, bringing one of the world's most electrifying talents to the Bernabeu. Alongside Mbappé came Endrick, a teenage Brazilian prodigy signed from Palmeiras. At just 18 years old, Endrick represented the future, another in the long line of Brazilian talents to grace the famous white shirt. His courage, maturity, and eye for goal suggested that Real Madrid's tradition of nurturing young superstars would continue for years to come. The 2023-24 season had been magical even before these arrivals. Real Madrid won La Liga for the 36th time, a record that extended their dominance of Spanish football. But more significantly, they won the Champions League again, their 15th European Cup, La Decimoquinta. They defeated Borussia Dortmund 2-0 in the final at Wembley, with goals from Dani Carvajal and Vinicius Jr. securing the trophy. Vinicius Jr., the young Brazilian who had arrived as a raw teenager, had now become one of the world's finest players. His performances in the 2023-24 season were sensational, and his goal in the Champions League final confirmed his status as a Real Madrid superstar. The boy from São Gonçalo had fulfilled his potential in the most spectacular way possible. With 15 European Cups, Real Madrid stood alone in football history. No other club had reached double figures. Real Madrid had gone beyond that and added 5 more. It was dominance that spanned generations, from Di Stéfano and Puskás to Ronaldo and Ramos, from Zidane to Benzema, from one golden era to the next, each building on the foundation laid by those who came before. As the 2024-25 season unfolded, Real Madrid continued to compete at the highest level with their new stars integrating into the team. The Bernabeu, renovated and modernized, stood as a cathedral to football's greatest club, its capacity reduced to around 81,000 but its atmosphere as electric as ever. Every match day, the stadium filled with supporters wearing white, continuing a tradition that stretched back over 120 years. The club's total trophy haul had reached extraordinary numbers: 36 La Liga titles, 20 Copa del Rey trophies, 15 European Cups, and numerous other honors. These weren't just statistics, they were proof of sustained excellence across different eras, different playing styles, different generations. Real Madrid had proven that greatness could be maintained, that a club could reinvent itself while staying true to its core identity. And so the story continues, as it always has and always will. New players arrive wearing the white shirt for the first time, feeling the weight of history on their shoulders but also the magic that comes with it. Young fans in Madrid and across the world dream of one day playing for Real Madrid, just as young fans have dreamed for over a century. The story has no ending, only new chapters waiting to be written. As you drift into sleep now, let the history of Real Madrid wash over you like a gentle wave. From humble beginnings in 1902 to 15 European Cups and counting, from a small club in Madrid to a global institution, from Di Stéfano to Mbappé, the story flows like a river, always moving, always finding new paths, but always unmistakably itself. Rest peacefully in the knowledge that some things in this world are simply meant to be great, meant to inspire, meant to endure. Real Madrid is one of those things, a club that turns football into art, competition into poetry, and history into dreams. Sleep well, knowing that when you wake, the story will still be continuing, as timeless and beautiful as ever.